Today's video is a special one for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's our first ever code from Nintendo, which is a very proud moment for the channel. And secondly, one of our writers, Dave Morrish, a good friend of mine, is an absolute expert when it comes to Mario Party games. There was no better man for the job than for Dave to review this for us. So without further ado, let's get into it. Mario Party is a series with a near 20-year history across various Nintendo consoles and handhelds. It has a reputation for being very competitive and ruining friendships, but also being a lot of fun. After 8 installments from the N64 to the GameCube, all the way to the Wii, where we were getting a new one pretty much annually, the series took a break and then returned late in the Wii's life with a brand new mechanic involving a car. Despite getting decent reviews, not a lot of fans took to this new gameplay style, but their voices were evidently not heard as the car returned in Mario Party 10 on the Wii U. At E3 earlier this year, it seemed that Nintendo had finally heard their fans' cries as they unveiled an 11th home console Mario Party, which takes the series back to its roots, ditching the number in the title and proudly slapping the word Super at the front. So, is this a party worth celebrating, or should we all have just stayed at home? Let's find out.
If you haven't played traditional Mario Party games before, it's a simple setup. You and 3 others, human or AI, take it in turns to roll a dice and move independently around the board. Spaces you land on will either gain you coins, lose you coins, or make some other special event happen. Your main mission is to use your coins to buy stars, which are sold at a certain point on the board. Whoever has the most stars at the end of the game wins. If there is a tie for the most stars, it goes down to coins. After everyone has had a turn, you play a minigame. Win the minigame, you win coins. You're also awarded bonus stars at the end of the game. Categories can vary from whoever won the most minigames to whoever moved the most, or sometimes least, amount of spaces. It is random every time which categories get chosen to keep things more interesting. It sounds simple at first, but a lot of skill, strategy, and a little bit of luck and a hefty amount of betrayal is needed to ultimately win. You can buy items in shops around the board, such as mushrooms that add the number you roll, or a warp pipe that takes you to the star. There are less items in this game than there were in previous iterations, sadly, but what this game does add to the mix is the special character-specific dice blocks. Before you can take your turn, you can choose to roll a standard 1 to 6 dice block, or your character's special one. If you're Mario, there'll be more 3s on there, representing how average he normally is in these spin-offs, whereas Bowser can roll a 10, but it could also make you lose some coins and not move anywhere. These special dice blocks add to the strategy of the board game. There are ally spaces where you can gain a new character to join you, which lets you access their dice block at any time, and they'll also roll a second dice for you. As I said before, you play a minigame at the end of each round, and these minigames are extremely fun for the most part. They'll have you avoiding charging chunks until only one person remains, shaking candy out of a jar, riding a chain chomp to knock your opponents out, and throwing pies at each other. I have had a blast with these minigames. Time will tell if they'll keep their appeal as the years go by, but they are a huge improvement over the previous few games, and some feel like remakes from the older ones. They've also removed the everyone's a winner ethos found in Mario Party 10, and in this version, coming last nets you exactly what it should. Absolutely diddly squat. Earning coins in the minigames also gives you the opportunity to buy stars. This time the stars only cost 10 coins as opposed to 20 in previous games, which means you'll see a lot more stars in play this time around. The boards in this game are varied, each with their own gimmicks, such as being split into islands made of fruit, with an angry blooper ready to knock you off a bridge, and one with King Bomb who detonates if enough people land on certain spaces. Unfortunately, there are only 4 boards, 3 to start with and a 4th one to unlock, and they are noticeably smaller than the previous titles. It does keep everyone closer together, which makes it easier to keep track of where everyone is, but I think the main reason they are small is because the turn limit is much smaller this time around. Before, you could set the game up to 50 turns, whereas here you can only go up to 20. You can do 30 turns on the unlockable board. I can only think this decision was made because if you played the game in tabletop mode, the Switch's battery life may not last long enough for a whole game, as they can take several hours, but I imagine most people will be playing this on the TV, so it would have been nice to give us the option. There are other game modes outside of the party mode. River Survival is a 4-player co-op where you have to make it down the river in a limited time. Soundstage sees you playing several rhythm-based minigames which are fun and strangely not available in the main game. Toad's Rec Room has some special games which can be played with 2 consoles put together. Partner Party lets you move freely around a smaller board, gathering allies like in Mario Party Star Rush on the 3DS. You can play minigames on their own freely or go online to challenge others. You can't play the main board game online, which I understand as it would be annoying to play for over an hour and then get disconnected, but it is irritating that only a select few minigames are available. I did experience some lag while playing online. Bizarrely, it was always in the first round. After this, it seemed to run lag-free, which was equally curious and frustrating. Gameplay scores 16 out of 20.
This game can be played with a single Joy-Con and can only be played with a single Joy-Con. It's great that it has this feature as it means you can play multiplayer right out of the box with no need for extra controllers, but it is quite baffling why it doesn't give us the choice to use a Pro controller instead. Luckily the turn-based nature means you're not intensely holding it at all times, so you won't get hand cramp. Whoever is holding the left Joy-Con will be taking a lot of accidental pictures though. Due to this need to have a single Joy-Con, you can't play in handheld mode, only in TV and tabletop. But due to the design of some of the minigames, it would have been very difficult to do this anyway, so the omission of handheld mode and the Pro controller does make sense. It's a shame that motion controls aren't optional in this game, but games like this are where motion controls thrive, and I haven't had a single problem with them yet, to be fair. They are responsive and I can't blame any of my failures on the controls not working. I can only blame my cheating competitors. Before each minigame you are presented with a practice screen, with the controls clearly displayed so that you can get to grips with it before you start the game properly. HD Rumble plays a part in some minigames as well. In some of the team games, the game will ask you to high-five each other by shaking the Joy-Con, and this is quite annoying after a while. It does get you a few extra coins, but it comes across as very gimmicky. So although it's a shame the controls don't give you more options, it's lucky that they work as well as they do. They are simple to use, you are constantly reminded as to what buttons to press, and the motion controls work very well, even though I feel they shouldn't be compulsory. Controls get 17 out of 20. This game is full of that Mario charm that you will come to expect from a Mario Party game. It is bright and colourful, and there's plenty of personality. Each board game is unique visually. The tropical fruit islands are a highlight, and they are certainly memorable. And the minigames, as usual, are presented with an opening and closing cutscene, and sometimes these are very amusing. Mr. Martinet provides his usual yahoos and whoops to the various overall-clad gentlemen, and the music is a joy to your ears. The moment you start up the game, you get hit with a bouncy tune that gets you in the mood to party. The board themes are varied and suited to the boards they accompany. The music does its job and sets the right tone for each board and minigame, even if there isn't anything that really stands out. Overall, this game's presentation is very good, it just oozes charm. Toadette in a bow tie is simply adorable, and the music is appealing if nothing too special. It doesn't quite reach the heights of Odyssey in either regard, but then I doubt anyone was expecting it to. Graphics get 16 out of 20, and audio also gets 16 out of 20. This game sells on the eShop for £49.99 or $59.99. which seems to be the standard for first-party Nintendo games. It can also be purchased physically for cheaper, depending on where you look. For this you are getting 4 game boards, 20 playable characters and 80 minigames, plus 8 different game modes. The real lasting appeal of this game all lands on the party mode, which I feel succeeds. It's a shame that there aren't more boards when you consider the first Mario Party had 8, double the amount that this one has. Whether you put a lot of time into it all depends on whether you are likely to have people to play with, as this is where the replayability comes in. The fact that you can play 2-player without needing to buy more Joy-Cons is a plus, and the online isn't really worth much of your time, so you won't be missing out on much even if you don't purchase Nintendo Switch Online. Overall, I would recommend trying to find the physical version for this instead of paying the full eShop price, and value gets 14 out of 20. To conclude, whilst there are a few limitations that prevent it from rivaling some of the other favourites in the series, Super Mario Party could certainly kickstart a series revival. The whole thrill of a Mario Party game is playing the longer game boards, racing to the stars, keeping track of who can do what on the board. These are all things absent from the games where you travel together in a car, but now the strategy and intensity is back. You are on your own in a quest to win, and win alone. The longer games mean you get to know each other, get to know the board layout well, so it doesn't feel like a quick match, it feels more like an event. Although this version doesn't quite compare to the glory days, whichever of those was your favourite, it's definitely a step in the right direction, and it's the best Mario Party in years. So grab a few mates and have a blast, because there ain't no party like a Mario Party. Super Mario Party receives a Switchup score of 78%.
So there you have it, our very first official Nintendo review. I hope you really enjoyed it. We went old school on this one with Glenn and I both recording the review, and thank you so much to Dave for writing that for us. As always guys, for all things Nintendo Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. See ya!
Take it easy everyone, happy gaming.